Hey everyone, do you have the tools to create the life that you want? Do you want the guidance to be able to apply those tools like a badass? Well, this is the platform for you. Welcome to the Next Level podcast with Dr. Leslie. I am your host, of course, Dr. Leslie. Today I have an awesome guest with me, Sam Heidari.
Yes. Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
See,
you. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you for being here. So, Sam is a personal injury attorney.
Yes, in Las Vegas, in
And
California.
yeah, nice. So you have two practices.
Yes.
And your Las Vegas practice is fairly new, right?
Not new. I started here in Nevada, Las Vegas. I went to a school here, law school. I started here. I clerked for a judge, but I expanded faster in California than here. But now we are investing in Nevada and we are expanding here. But I have been in Nevada for past 10 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's
Yes.
awesome. So I was fascinated with you and to have you on the show because, there's so much. I'm from Canada, right? And to do personal injury and like all of the attorney, okay, so I remember sitting at home and we're kind of close to the border on Washington. And we would always see on the American channels these commercials for personal injury and it's just and like all the political stuff, like you guys are just so different here. And so when I moved here, I'm like, holy shit, there are personal injury attorneys on every corner. Like, what the F is going on here?
It's an unsafe place.
Right, I'm like, who wants to go to the US? The US is a land of opportunity. It's a land of attorneys and injury. What the fuck?
Land of injuries, mostly.
A land of injuries. So what's the deal with Vegas? Because I've traveled to obviously other places. I've been in the US for 17 years now. Vegas seems to be like the personal injury capital of the West Coast. What's the deal?
In other cities is less transient, and here you have a lot of travelers, tourists, visitors that they come over here, and incidents happens, premises liability, car accidents, and the fastest way that they just look for a car accident lawyer or the accident lawyer or the injury lawyer is by looking at the billboards. It's reinforcement. At the same time, these days is more Google, and the tourists they do more Google, and I was expecting that possibly it's going to be lower number of the billboards in Vegas as to the personal injury accidents, because everyone goes on the cell phone or on the social media, they look for it, and you saw that after you look for something pops up on your cell phone, on the social media, on the Facebook. Those are the new billboards, but it's still Vegas has kept the traditional way of the billboard since 1990s, 1989, actually.
It's like the
But
mob.
it's
You just
exactly
can't
the
get
same
away.
way.
You can't get away from the mob.
And
You
it's a
can't get away from the
transient, to
billboards.
some extent it works, and people they get familiar and reinforcement of the brain that if I need a lawyer, I have to go to this lawyer. I understand why they are doing it, but I don't think that's the future of the marketing for the personal injury lawyer or anyone else like that. Yep.
Okay.
Your billboards is now your tablet, your computer, your Facebook, your Instagram, your even you search something on the right side of the Google, right away it pops up all the things that you need actually, or the advertisement. I don't think that people go and look at the billboard to look for a lawyer, but it's a reinforcement for the people that they are living in that location that I have to look for this attorney.
Yeah, right. Okay. It's so crazy because there's so many accidents here. I don't know if it's because of the casino and people get hit or injured in
Different reasons, because I said that we are transient
Yeah.
state. We have a lot of tourists. They are not familiar with the road. Wrong way drive. Actually, they walk into the other side. There are a lot of issues here. Also, being drunk. Marijuana is legal now.
Oh, right.
Drive-throughs, all those things.
So
It
has it
adds
gone
up.
up? Has it gone up since
Based
marijuana?
on based on what I read, it went up, but there are not exact studies as to whether the marijuana or the opening the marijuana lounges actually is going to add more accidents or the more DUIs actually violation. And it's not studied yet, so we will find out within the next 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Hopefully not by the bad experience of being more people injured.
Right, right. So I was in a car accident recently and I had no idea what to do with the whole thing. So, like, for people who are getting in accidents and don't know what to do, like, what is the first and best piece of advice you can give them to know now so that they can tap into when they get into an accident?
First, they have to move their car safely out of the road if they can, if they are not that badly injured, and ask for the medical treatment and help. Do a 911 police report and call them. And then next, step is just make sure that you document the evidence. Take the picture of the debris on the, if the liability disputed, if they are saying that it was a lane change or it was a T-bone accident, and look for the witnesses at the scene and some people stop by and say, I saw it. Just get the phone number right away. Don't be distracted because that witness is going to help you to not be at fault. And if you are injured, you can recover for your injuries, damages. But you have to be oriented. But everyone is not like that because the accident is going to create a chaos and you don't know what you're doing. You are distraught as to what I'm doing, what's going on, different people coming to you, you don't know. And it's very hard at that moment. But my advice is always be safe, call 911, and if you need the medical treatment, just go to the ER. And after that, you will think about it. But if you are more oriented as to the time as what's going on, just make sure you document, take a picture, talk to other people, get the evidence gathered before you leave the scene. And that's the thing. And always I tell people, buy the dash cam in the Vegas. Put the dash cam, it's $30, put it on the camera. It helps you and the other people if something happens to them, actually.
Oh, so a dash cam going out.
Yeah, going out, seeing the road, actually, and you can just use it. And if the accident happens, it's recording the road for you all the time. And you
Oh,
can download it. And now we have a program right now for the Uber drivers because they spend so much time on the road. We are just giving out from June 1st 100 dash cams to the Uber and the Lyft drivers. We start in June based on the first come first serve. We are doing it because it helps them. They are on the road and they get into an accident. Sometimes they get into a altercation with the passenger. You don't know you are getting on the car, actually, your car. Sometimes it's their safety as the issue, even the safety of the passenger. It's better to have some kind of documentation and video of the inside and outside the car for the Uber drivers, like a cab. All the cabs in Vegas are mandated, and they have some kind of dash cam outside, inside the cabin, and we don't have those problems that we have with the Uber drivers that they are get hit and they are not at
right.
fault, but they cannot prove it.
Right. And I heard from one of the Uber drivers 'cause when I was traveling that there's like a scam that was going on here about Uber drivers coordinating car accidents with other people to collect insurance money or something like that.
Really? Who said that?
Yeah.
That's the news?
It was an Uber driver that I was with. Like he was like, yeah, there are Uber drivers that are actually getting into accidents, like arranging car accidents with, or it was when you were renting the Uber cars, there was some sort of loophole in their agreement or something that allows them to collect a ton of money by renting one of the Uber vehicles, and Uber had to like shut that whole thing
No, it
down.
has been around all the time, like a trucks and the thing, a staging accident.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
staging accident is a federal crime, is a state crime, and is punishable up to 20 years. And
right.
everyone is found guilty of it is a felony, is the end of your life, is regardless. As to a staging accident and collecting the insurance proceeds just because you are a staging accident, they do it. Yeah, it happens a lot, and that's a reason insurance companies they have a special investigation unit, SIU, that they go after those kind of suspicious accidents that it doesn't add up. And sometimes they are right, not all the time, because they got into a habit of the SIUing everything, a special investigation, not to pay.
Yeah.
You know, some insurance companies they are not doing it right, and they are doing it based on the race, based on the other stuff that we have a lawsuits about that, like a U-Haul that we have a lawsuit against it, that they are doing it mostly based on the Armenians, actually, based on what we found out, that if they're Armenian, they just do SIU and they don't pay, or Hispanic or minority on the policies, actually. So there are a
Really?
lot of these issues going on. It's always in the businesses. There are the fakers, there are the frauds, actually, that happens, but it doesn't mean that all the Uber drivers that get into a car accident, it means that they are committing a fraud.
Right.
So,
Wow.
but it going around all the time, and in California, all around the U.S., is like a Medicare fraud, like the insurance fraud. Everywhere is like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. What's the worst injury that you've seen or that you've taken on as a case? If you can talk about it. If it doesn't make
Yeah,
you sick.
that's one of the ongoing cases, the motorcycle accident, wrongful death, that nothing left from the body of the rider. It was under the truck. Almost the face was flattened up on the road in Vegas. That was the saddest thing I ever seen. And I had another one in New Mexico that the two semi truck hit each other, and one of my client as a driver was cut in half actually on the belly because of the two trucks hit and the dashboard came in and cut him in half. And
Wow.
that's the
So
worst thing that I ever seen so far.
what would something like that pay out?
There are big payouts on those cases.
Like
If the liability,
multi-million?
it depends on the liability. You cannot say you have to go investigate. You have to do it. It depends on the job of the person. Depends on the support that he was or she was offering for the family. All depends on the facts. You cannot say there is a wrongful death. Possibly its value is zero. Sometimes wrongful death value is millions. It depends who was killed. If the surgeon was killed that was supporting the family and the two kids, making it $4 million per year. Another 40 years, 30 years of the practice is 120 million. Yeah, but you don't know. It
Right.
depends on the support that they were providing for the family and the people dependent on them.
So is there any recommendation you could give in terms of what type of car insurance policy you would suggest for someone, or a life insurance policy?
Life insurance policy, I'm not an expert, I'm not a broker, but based on what I'm seeing in Vegas, all of them, they need to have, everyone needs to have to some extent uninsured motorists, because there are a lot of drivers here, they don't have insurance. They cannot afford it, or it's lapsed, or they don't care. They are just driving the car without the insurance till their driver license gets suspended. Okay, so or registration is canceled. But the issue is, what happens if they hit you? What happens if they injure you? How you are protected? There is a policy is called uninsured motorist, underinsured motorist. If you purchase that policy, if you are not at fault and someone else doesn't have enough policy to cover your damages, or there is no coverage on the other party, your insurance kicks in and pays for the pain and suffering, loss of income, acts like the other party's insurance. That's a advice that I always tell to my clients: just buy it. You're protecting other people. Some people they buy $1 million policy to protect the other people, and I say, why you are don't have uninsured motorists, or you reduce it to 25.50 because it was expensive. I say is a change actually, just a $50 or $60. Just protect yourself. Buy half a million or $1 million uninsured motorist to protect yourself. If something happens to you, what do you want to do? That's a thing advice that I always give my clients or someone that asks, is that what kind of insurance I have to have in Vegas. I said that's it. Just have that, because that's the way you protect yourself from the underinsured motorists actually, or the vehicles that they are on the road.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I had that too. I paid a pretty penny for my car insurance. So, but I did. I had ample coverage, and they really took care of me. And I mean, you never ever want to be in a place where you have to use your car insurance or have to be hurt or anything
But
like that. But
accident happens, incident
that's right.
happens, and you have to. That's the reason you have insurance, who,
That's right.
for the risk that you
Right.
are taking to be on the road, and the life is full of risk.
That's right. It's
Yeah.
very true. I know. It's in a blink of an eye. That's how my accident happened. It just T-bone, bam, and suffering still and recovering, and
Regardless of how much you are cautious and you are watching around, still you get hit.
that's right.
It happens
It does.
because the other people, they don't pay attention. What you can do, you want to just stop before entering into an intersection, just stop and look around. You cannot do it,
Right.
but you have to just enter, and sometimes the other party doesn't stop at the red light.
That's right. Exactly. Well, those are really awesome bits of advice, some tools for you guys out there. We want to
Thank
keep you
you.
protected. We want to keep you safe. We don't want you to get into an accident, but this is really important information. From my own experience, I wanted you all to be prepared so you didn't feel blindsided like I did. So thank you, Sam, so much
No
for
problem.
being
Thank
on
you
the
very much.
podcast today. And you guys can reach Sam's firm by calling 702-970-HURT. That is HURT.
Thank you.
And thank you again
Thank
so
you very
much.
much for having me today.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. Until next time.
Thank you.